The dining room shimmered under the soft glow of a crystal chandelier, its light casting delicate patterns across the long oak table. The air carried the faint scent of rosemary and aged wine, mingling with the tension that hung like an unspoken guest among us. My mother-in-law, Evelyn, sat at the head of the table, her posture regal, her dark hair swept into a flawless twist. She wore a silk blouse the color of midnight, her emerald eyes glinting as she placed a plate before me with a smile that didn't reach them. "Try this, Sophia," she said, her voice smooth as glass. "It's a little something I whipped up, learned it from a chef in Tuscany. I thought it'd suit you." The words were polite, almost warm, but they landed like a stone in my chest. Evelyn had never accepted minute since I'd married her son, James, 3 years ago. To her, I was an intruder in her pristine world, a blemish on the legacy she'd spent decades crafting. I glanced at the salad, vibrant arugula, candied pecans, thin slices of pear, all drizzled with a dressing that gleamed too perfectly under the light. It was beautiful, but something about it felt off. "Thank you," I murmured, lifting my fork with a practiced smile. Across the table, my sister-in-law Lila was already eating hers, her movements quick and careless, as if she had nothing to prove. She was Evelyn's darling, the favored child who'd never had to fight for her place. James sat beside me, distracted as always, his attention caught in a murmured debate with his father, Richard, about some merger at the family company. He didn't notice the silent war brewing between Evelyn and Meth, one we'd been fighting since the day I'd said, "I do." I brought the fork closer, the scent of the dressing hitting me, a sharp, metallic undertone beneath the citrus and oil. My stomach clenched. Evelyn's gaze was fixed on me, her smile unwavering, expectant. "Go on," she urged, her tone almost playful. "I made it just for you." I hesitated, the fork hovering near my lips. Lila finished her bite, smirking faintly as she wiped her mouth with a napkin, her eyes flicking to me with that familiar hint of superiority. She didn't notice anything wrong, she never did. But I did. In that moment, a spark of instinct flared and I acted. Setting my fork down, I adjusted my napkin, shifting slightly in my chair. My hand brushed the edge of my plate, and with a subtle nudge masked by reaching for my water glass, I swapped it with Lila's. She didn't blink, too busy basking in Richard's praise for her latest art gallery opening. Evelyn, though, caught it. Her eyes narrowed for a split second before she smoothed them back into calm indifference. I picked up my fork again, taking a bite from Lila's original plate. The flavors were crisp, clean, nothing out of place. Evelyn's composure flickered, her fingers tightening around her wine glass. She knew. Lila, oblivious, grabbed my former plate and dug in, her confidence unshaken. I watched, my pulse steady, waiting. The room hummed with small talk, Richard's low laugh, James's distracted replies, the clink of cutlery. Evelyn resumed chatting with Richard, but her glances darted to Lila, quick and sharp. She hadn't touched her own food, I noticed. That sealed it. Lila shifted, a faint frown creasing her brow. She took another bite, chewed, swallowed, then blinked hard, as if something blurred her vision. My heart thudded, not from fear, but from the cold certainty settling in. She coughed, a small, dry sound, then again louder. James turned to her, frowning. "You okay?" "Yeah," she said quickly, her voice tight. "Just something caught in my throat." Her hand shook as she reached for her water, the glass trembling in her grip. Evelyn's knuckles whitened around her stemware. "Are you sure, darling? You don't look well." That was the confirmation. Something was in that salad, something meant for me. Lila waved it off, but her breathing grew labored, her movements slow. The smugness faded from her face, replaced by confusion, then unease. I dabbed my lips with my napkin, hiding the faint curve of a smile. Guilt should have tugged at me. It didn't. Evelyn's plan had backfired, and now she'd have to deal with the mess she'd made, not on me, but on her golden child. James leaned toward Lila, concern deepening. "You don't look good." "I'm fine," she snapped, but her voice cracked. Sweat beaded along her temples. Then her face twisted, a sharp gasp, her hand clutching her chest. She shoved her chair back, the legs scraping harshly against the floor, and stumbled out of the room. Silence fell, heavy and jagged, broken only by the faint sound of her retching down the hall. I sipped my water, meeting Evelyn's gaze. Her mask had slipped, she looked shaken, Her lips pressed into a thin line. I smiled sweetly. Wonderful salad, Evelyn. You'll have to give me the recipe. She didn't answer, but her eyes burned with something dark. She knew I'd outmaneuvered her. The game had begun. The silence stretched, the dining room's warmth draining away. Richard cleared his throat, shifting in his seat, while Evelyn sat frozen, her wine glass a lifeline in her hand. James half stood torn. Should I? No, Evelyn said sharply, her voice cutting through the air. She'll be fine. Let her pull herself together. James frowned, uneasy. She didn't even drink much. What could've? Sometimes food doesn't agree with you, I said casually, swirling my water. It happens. Evelyn's gaze snapped to mine, a blade in her stare, but I held it unflinching. Richard tapped his fingers on the table, his discomfort growing. He'd been quiet all night, but now he watched me with a new intensity, as if sensing the undercurrent he'd missed. James sighed, rubbing his temples. I should check on her. He left, his footsteps quick but uncertain. The moment he was gone, Evelyn set her glass down with a deliberate clink, the sound a quiet command. Her lips curved into a tight smile. You like the salad? My stomach twisted, but I leaned back, matching her tone. Loved it. You'll have to share that recipe. A pause, then a soft, forced chuckle. I thought it'd be to your taste, she murmured, tracing the rim of her glass. It's unique. Richard shifted, his eyes darting to her. Evelyn. It had a distinct flavor, I interrupted, tilting my head. Something I couldn't quite place. Her fingers stilled. New recipes can surprise you. The body doesn't always know how to react. A warning thinly veiled. Before I could push further, a sharp sound cut through the hall, the door banging open, followed by Lila's voice, raw and unsteady. What the hell was in that? She staggered into the doorway, pale and disheveled, her hand gripping the frame. Her eyes darted between us, wild with confusion. I stayed calm, unreadable. Evelyn rose, her movements fluid, her voice dripping with concern. Lila, sweetheart, are you all right? Lila's gaze narrowed. I don't know, but something was wrong. It wasn't just nausea, my heart was pounding, my hands went numb. The room tensed. I let the silence linger, then looked at Evelyn, waiting. Her mask cracked, a flash of irritation before she stepped forward, resting a hand on Lila's arm. Perhaps an allergy. I don't have allergies, Lila said, pulling away. Well, Richard interjected, his tone firm. Maybe we should get you checked out just to be safe. Lila hesitated, and I thought she'd drop it. She'd always trusted Evelyn blindly. But tonight something flickered in her eyes, doubt. She turned to me, her voice sharp. Did you feel anything? I met her stare, smiling faintly. No. I'm perfectly fine. The air tightened. Evelyn's nails dug into her palm. Richard shifted again. Lila's mouth opened, realization dawning, but Evelyn cut in, her tone urgent. Darling, you should rest. Some air might help. Lila paused, glancing at me, then nodded slowly. Yeah, maybe. James returned, guiding her out with a hand on her shoulder. Let's get you some water. As they left, I turned to Evelyn. Her composure was fraying, her eyes dark with something dangerous. She exhaled, a wry smile tugging at her lips. You're quick, Sophia. I'll give you that. I tilted my head, feigning innocence. I don't know what you mean. Richard stood abruptly. Evelyn, we need to talk. She sighed, brushing her temple, but followed him out without a backward glance. Alone, I dabbed my lips with my napkin. The first round was mine, and Evelyn knew it. The dining room felt hollow now, the echoes of the night's clash lingering in the air. I heard Evelyn and Richard's voices down the hall, low, tense. You're pushing too far, Richard said, his tone clipped. This isn't how we handle things. I'm handling it, Evelyn snapped. She needs to know her place. I lingered just out of sight, my pulse quickening. Richard sighed. She's James's wife, Evelyn. You can't keep. Keep what? She cut in, her voice cold. Protecting what's ours? She's an outsider, Richard. Always will be. My nails bit into my palm. Richard hesitated. We agreed to let this go. No, you did. I won't let her unravel everything we've built. Silence. Then Richard, quieter. She's not the fool you think she is. Evelyn laughed, sharp and bitter. She's predictable. She'll trip over herself soon enough. I smiled to myself. Keep thinking that, Evelyn. I stepped into view, their heads turning as I approached. Evelyn's expression shifted to something neutral, almost kind. Sophia, dear, she said smoothly. I was just coming to find you. Oh. I smiled back. Something on your mind? She studied me, then chuckled. You're sharper than I thought. And you're exactly as I expected. Her smile faltered. Richard looked exhausted. Enough. This stops now. Evelyn's eyes stayed on me. You think you've gained something tonight, she murmured. But this is far from over. I know, I said, unflinching. And it was true. Evelyn wouldn't back down, and neither would I. Her words echoed as I climbed the stairs to our bedroom, the house settling into a restless quiet. This wasn't just a petty feud, it was a battle, waged in shadows and whispers, where the real stakes were hidden. I'd known Evelyn would resist me, but I hadn't realized how far she'd go. Tonight proved she'd cross any line to keep her throne. The dining room was empty when I passed it later, the table cleared. A maid, Grace, was wiping down the surface, her movements precise. She'd been invisible all night, a fixture in Evelyn's world. But now, as she lifted my original plate, she paused, her eyes narrowing as she studied it. Then she glanced up, catching my stare, and quickly looked away. I approached, my voice low. See something? She stiffened, hesitating. I just do my job, ma'am. Not a denial, I said, watching her. She exhaled, then murmured, It's not my place. Of course, I said, turning away. But as I reached the hall, I heard Evelyn and Richard again. You're reckless, he said. What were you thinking? I was thinking she's a threat, Evelyn hissed. And I don't tolerate threats. I stopped, hidden by the wall. Richard sighed. She's family now. She's nothing, Evelyn snapped. And I'll make sure she knows it. I smiled faintly, slipping upstairs. Evelyn had no idea what she'd unleashed. In our room, I stood by the window, the city lights a distant hum. James slept beside me later, his breathing uneven, his mind tangled in what he wouldn't yet face. Evelyn thrived on control, on traps so subtle her targets didn't see them until they snapped shut. But I saw them now, and I'd turn them back on her. A soft knock broke my thoughts. Lila stood in the doorway, arms crossed, her face a mix of defiance and unease. We need to talk, she said. I gestured her in. She closed the door, pacing once before facing me. I need the truth. Which one? I asked, folding my arms. She glared. Did you switch the plates? I held her gaze. Yes. She inhaled sharply, shaken but not furious. And you think Mom did something to it? I know she did. Her face crumpled, torn between loyalty and doubt. Why? Because I'm a threat to her perfect little kingdom. She wanted me gone, or at least humbled. Lila sank onto a chair, rubbing her forehead. This is crazy. It's real. She exhaled, shaking her head. What now? That's up to you. To what? I leaned forward. To decide if you're still her pawn or ready to fight back. Her eyes widened, the gears turning. She'd lived in Evelyn's glow, untouchable, until tonight. Now that glow was dimming. After a long silence, she whispered, What do you need? I smiled. The game was on. The city glittered below as I stared out the window. Evelyn had laid the first trap, but I'd sidestepped it. Now it was my move. Lila's question lingered, a pledge, fragile but real. She was rattled, and that was good. Doubt was a weapon, and I'd wield it. You don't have to do anything yet, I said. Then why ask? To see if you're in. She frowned. And if I am? Watch. Wait. She nodded, the seed taking root. That night, I lay awake beside James, his tension palpable even in sleep. He was grappling with the same truth Lila was, that Evelyn wasn't the saint he'd believed. Morning came fast, the house stirring with quiet unease. James woke, his eyes heavy. You're scheming, he murmured. I smirked. You're just noticing? He groaned. How did this happen? Because your mother misjudged me. He stared at the ceiling. Are you going to confront her? Not yet. Are you? I don't know what to say. Try the truth. It's not that easy. It is. You're just scared to see it. He didn't argue. Breakfast was a tightrope. Evelyn sat at the head, her mask back in place, but her eyes were sharp. Lila picked at her food, silent. James gripped his coffee. Richard hid behind his paper. Evelyn spoke first. Everyone sleep well? Perfectly, I said, smiling. Good, she said, sipping her tea. Busy day ahead. A warning. I leaned forward. Lila, how are you? Evelyn's cup paused. Lila glanced up. Fine, she said cautiously. Last night was odd, wasn't it? I pressed. Evelyn set her cup down. Odd. Yeah. Lila was fine, then suddenly. Bodies can be unpredictable, Evelyn said smoothly. Only one plate though, I said. The air thickened. Lila swallowed. It was the salad. Evelyn smiled faintly. Sure about that, dear? Lila nodded. Yes. Evelyn's smile tightened. Maybe a sensitivity. I laughed softly. Or maybe it wasn't chance. The room stilled. James tensed. Richard frowned. Lila's breath caught. Evelyn's mask slipped, revealing cold intent. She wasn't scared, just waiting. I smiled. But that'd be absurd, right? We're family. Yes, she said, her voice ablaze. We are. The next move was mine. Breakfast dissolved into forced chatter, but my mind raced. I needed Lila solid. After, I found her in the garden, staring at the koi pond. I don't know what to do, she said. You don't have to yet. I've never questioned her before. And now I see I should've. I smiled. It's not too late. She looked at me resolute. You're not afraid of her? No. I want to see her lose. Then stay close. Evelyn had ruled this family, but the cracks were widening. Lila turned suddenly. She won't stop. No. What if I tell her I know? What would you say? I don't know what's true yet. Then wait, I said, touching her arm. Let her reveal herself. She nodded. The door opened. Evelyn, her shadow long. There you are, she said, stepping forward. I was worried. Her eyes flicked to me, then Lila. Lila tensed. Evelyn brushed her arm, possessive. We should talk. Just us. Lila hesitated, unready. Evelyn smiled. You can always trust me. Lila nodded. Okay. I let her go, watching them disappear. Evelyn would test her and I'd wait. An hour passed, the house too quiet. When Lila returned, she was pale, hands clenched. She knew, she said. Knew what? We talked. She knew I doubted her. Of course. What did she say? That you're manipulating me, that you've planned this since you met James. She laughed bitterly. She almost had me. Do you believe her? No. But it was close. Evelyn thrived on doubt. What else? She said she'll fix it. A threat. Then we move fast, I said. How? To make her fall first. Lila nodded, the pact sealed. She was still torn but resolute. She's going to get rid of you, she said. How? No details, but she was calm. It's already started. Then we strike first. How? She's untouchable. She controls perception, I said. But she's got secrets. We find them. Her eyes lit up. We unravel her. Everything she's done, tell me. It'll take time. We don't have it. For an hour we mapped Evelyn's web-manipulated alliances, buried scandals. Then Lila paused. There's something about Dad. What? She's got leverage, something big. My pulse raced. Richard's silence wasn't just habit, it was forced. That's our key. If it's real, we'll find out. Dinner was a charade. Evelyn, the perfect hostess, her eyes on me. She was waiting. So was I. That night, I found Richard in his study, a bourbon in hand. She's slipping, I said. He glanced up. What do you want? The truth. He smirked. Dangerous thing here. What's she got on you? Nothing. Don't lie. He sighed. She knows things enough to ruin me. Why not fight? She's relentless. She's weakening, I said. Help me. He studied me, then nodded. She's got files in her study safe. Where? Behind the bookshelf. I smiled. Thank you. You're in deep. So is she. Lila waited in my room. Well, files in her study safe. Her eyes widened. That's it. We moved silently to the study, the house asleep. The door opened easily. Evelyn's arrogance. The safe was behind a bookshelf panel. I tried her anniversary, nothing. Her birthday, nothing. Then her father's death year, click. Lila gasped. How? She's sentimental. Files, names, secrets. Richard's held fraud evidence. James S.A. trust clause to cut me out. She's trapping him, I said. Lila stepped back. She's ruthless. She's scared. The door creaked. Evelyn stood there, calm, her eyes on the files. Bold move, she said. I smiled. Just tidying up your mess. She stepped in, closing the door. You think you've won? I've got enough to end you. She laughed. You don't get it. I do. And I've rewritten it. Her mask cracked. You can't break me. You will, I said. She stared, the air electric. Put those down, she said. We'll forget this. No, I said, stepping forward. You don't scare me. Lila spoke. Why, Mom? Evelyn softened, then hardened. For us. By hurting me? Lila snapped. A mistake, Evelyn said. No, I cut in. It was for me. Her eyes flashed. You don't belong here. Then why am I winning? I said. She lunged, but Lila grabbed her arm. Stop. Evelyn froze, betrayed. You'll regret this. She left, her heels a ticking clock. Lila sank down. What now? We hit back, I said. We planned through the night, files, leverage. Morning came, Evelyn absent, regrouping. James was quiet, sensing the shift. That night I showed him the trust clause. She's controlling you, I said. He hardened. What do I do? Rattle her. Next breakfast he did. What's this, Mom? He asked, tossing the clause down. Evelyn paled. Where? Why? He pressed. A precaution, she said. Against me. You're overreacting. No, he said. You are. She was shaken. That night, Richard gave me a ledger, more dirt. The final blow came at a dinner party. I stood, files and ledger out. To truth, I said, spilling them. Guests gasped. Evelyn laughed, strained. Nonsense. Proof, I said. Richard stood. It's real. James joined. You're done, Mom. Lila rose. You used us. Evelyn crumbled. Guests fleeing with whispers of ruin. She sank, defeated. In the garden later, Lila sat with me. Now what? We heal, I said. James took my hand. I should have seen it. You do now, I said. The house was lighter, Evelyn's reign over. The scars remained, but we'd won.
If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.